the State Department has temporarily paused funding to the UN Relief and Works Agency amid allegations that 12 of the UN agency's employees were involved in the October 7th terrorist attacks. Now, the State Department announcing the move today, hours after the UN agency said it received the information from Israel. The UNRWA Commissioner General said it decided to immediately fire the staff members over their alleged involvement and has launched an investigation. Meanwhile, Senate Foreign Relations Committee ranking member Jim Risch says he expects the Biden administration to seize all funding to UNRWA and noted that the agency has a history of hiring people connected to terrorist movements. Investigative reporters have been sounding the alarm on UNRWA for years. Take, for example, Dr. Anthony Harper. He raised this concern to the Trump White House back in 2016. Take a listen.
Israel leaders in the Knesset, I'm aware of, are concerned about the misuse of U.S. tax dollars going to UN schools that are inciting kids to violence against the Jews. MK leaders Sharon Haskell, Yehuda Glick, and Dr. Eliza Levy, I met recently, had interviews with them. Their concerns are very serious. So they would want to know what President Trump, or how he would respond to the misuse of these.
Well, I think I would go back to what I said to John a minute ago, which is that I think he has tremendous respect for how tax dollars are spent. But then I would mention again, I mean, we need a UN ambassador. We need a Secretary of State. There's a lot of these things that can start to happen under the direction of the new leadership that's being held up right now.
Well, after Harper's question, the Trump administration did withdraw funding from UNRWA in 2018. But Biden reinstated that funding, and until today, the U.S. has been the largest individual donor, giving, get this, $344 million in 2022 alone. This is just in 1 year. And joining us now is the investigative journalist who served as the impetus for Trump cutting UNRWA funding, Dr. Anthony Harper of InterMountain Christian News and Israel news service Newsrael. Anthony, good to see you. Tell me about how your question at the White House went viral on January 24th, 2017 about UNRWA. I mean, you were raising these concerns years ago.
Well, yes, Stella, it's great to join you today. Now, I wanted to correct the date. Actually, this was January 24th, 2017, a year earlier during the press meeting. But this is really a very special experience because I'm in the press room that day, and these seats are assigned to other reporters. So I take other news reporter's seat, and thankfully that reporter didn't show up. So the third row, prime time, the first week of the Trump administration, and my question goes viral in Jerusalem, played on primetime Hebrew channel 20 in Jerusalem. So this was a very special time, which actually led to an investigation. Senator James Risch of Idaho, been the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, UNRWA expert, as well as David Bedin, UNRWA experts. So this is very significant, and it led to my introduction to the Prime Minister Netanyahu, actually that year on May 8th in 2017, because of my White House questions on this issue. And now, as you mentioned, the U.S. State Department is paused the funding of this, but wondering what's going to be done by this. Specifically, I've identified this as a terrorist organization, but the Biden White House is refusing to acknowledge this as a terrorist organization.
You know, since the Israel-Hamas war, there have been several allegations of corruptions by UNRWA, like UNRWA employees holding Israelis hostage in their homes, humanitarian aid and giving it to Hamas, taking that from the people of Gaza. UNRWA teachers allegedly in a Telegram chat praising Hamas for October 7th. Are our tax dollars funding terror?
They are clearly funding terror. So I pointed out in several of my meetings at the White House, also at the State Department, that money is going into this UN agency, which is dedicated to promote hatred of the Jewish people. In their curriculum, David Bedin is a real expert on the UNRWA issue. His website is IsraelBehindTheNews.com, so you can learn a lot of information about UNRWA there. But clearly, U.S. tax dollars have been going into this UN agency for years. This hateful curriculum that portray Israel as Palestine, fueling this hatred of the Jewish people. And I think overall the bedrock of anti-Semitism is promoting that Israel is the illegal occupier. This hatred of the Jewish people and this UNRWA curriculum has to stop. And Peter Doocy of Fox News and many other reporters besides myself been sounding this alarm, but I think more than any other reporter, I've been exposing this for many years, and starting in the Obama administration.
You know, Trump obviously was right. He was right about UNRWA. He pulled out the $340 million in funding. Biden puts us back in. Bad idea?
Well, yes, actually, Biden refunding this is a really bad idea. But I want to say that Senator James Risch investigation, I asked him to look into this. What happened is that he asked the GAO, General County Office, to do an investigation of UNRWA. And so when the GAO found out that UNRWA was lying to the State Department, and that evidence regarding President Trump's decision to pull us out of funding UNRWA, it's an accumulation of facts. Thanks to David Bedin for this Israel Behind the News, Senator James Risch, and with my questions, I'm thankful for. But so much more has to be done about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Anthony Harper, really appreciate your investigative work and keeping this story in the headlines. I think it's important, and now we're seeing what's happening.
It's very crucial.
Yeah.
I would invite people to look at our YouTube channel, which is InterMountain Christian News. You can see my interviews that I've had with the Prime Minister Netanyahu, and it was very special to be introduced to him in the Knesset on May 8, 2017 because of the White House reporting.
Thank you. Thank you for your investigative work.